If this video found its way to you, it's not random. I believe Allah guided it to you, because what I'm about to share could revolutionize and permanently alter the future of the Ummah in the Western world forever. As everyone becomes more connected online and as we enter an age of meta-connections, humans are becoming more fragmented, isolated, and loneliness is no longer some small issue, but it is on the rise and everyone is feeling it, whether they recognize it or not. Now, take a young Muslim in Birmingham, Bradford or Glasgow, just stepping into adulthood. The single most influential factor that will shape his future is his circle, his friends. But when he walks into the masjid, what does he find? A few uncles, a khutbah, a prayer timetable, but no real brotherhood, no mentor to welcome him, no environment that inspires him, no tribe to pull him in and walk with him. He has to figure it all out by himself. And sadly, so many never do. They're left to rot. So what happens? He drifts. One day mist turns into 1 month and the silence of loneliness just grows louder and louder. No one calls, no one checks in, until eventually he fades into the background and the dunya, it pulls him somewhere else. And this is a story that happens far too common. And that was me 15 years ago. I remember the feeling, walking through the masjid doors and seeing nothing but distance. No sense of brotherhood, no one close to my age, no vision to plug into, no one to check in on me. So I felt it. I felt that isolation, but I did something about it. I made one dua, wallahi. I said, "Oh Allah, help me to build a brotherhood in my small town." And from there I worked day and night to establish this. What followed was a journey that took me from local meetups to global stages, from lonely halls to packed gatherings, from one dua to a city transformed. Now, we have 16-year-olds leading Jummah in their high schools with 200 students attending every week. We have brotherhood circles filled with purpose, young Muslims standing together with vision. And now, it's time to share this formula with the world. It's time to finally share this with the world. I have been doing da'wah work for 15 years. I've spoken on stages across the world. I've built an audience of millions on social media. But let me tell you something. None of that compares to the impact I've seen in my own community at the grassroots level. It's just not comparable. There is no comparison to seeing a real, wholesome change on the ground. And now, I've decided to come back to where it all started. The grassroots, the real work, the real people. And I don't need to do this, but I have to, because I believe we are standing at the edge of something massive. And if we don't act now, we will regret it. So here's the plan. It's very simple. We are building a nationwide movement under a project called Criterion Group, designed to rebuild real brotherhood and sisterhood, empower young leaders and revive purpose and vision in our communities. Let me explain. We are raising £100,000 with 3 phases. Phase 1, we will secure our first home, a premises that will be the hub of our work, a space for mentoring, gatherings and strategy. It will be the HQ of Criterion Group, the base camp and foundation for something much bigger. From here, we build and scale. Once established, we will launch our program. This is now where the real work begins. Phase 2, this is where we focus on outreach, leadership training and building a nationwide system of influence. Once the base is secured and we have stability, we begin outreach. We find and train young Muslim leaders in every city from Glasgow to London. We give them the tools, the funding and the mentorship to build brotherhood and sisterhood in their cities and towns. It starts with the understanding that humans are hardwired for tribe, connection and belonging. If we don't offer that, TikTok will, the streets will, bad friends will, someone else will. And this is how we will lose the next generation. It will slip through our fingers because no one offered an alternative solution that actually works. So how do we build a system like this? Simple. We start with leaders because influence flows through people, not programs, not posters, not platforms. It flows through presence, genuine people on the ground, through someone older who sees you, who guides you, who walks with you. When a young person sees an older person who they look up to, that person is way more influence than any Instagram video. Now, these leaders, they now become the chain of influence. Let me explain. We onboard someone who's 30, train him, develop him, and then he will influence someone who's 23. And then we train that leader to have a vision to save the next generation, and then that 23-year-old influence and shapes the mindset of the 18-year-olds. And when your son or nephew turns 14 in any city across the UK, he'll have a tribe ready to receive him. So, how will we find and build these leaders? That's where my personal network becomes the engine. As the Sunnah guy, I've been blessed to have an advantage very few people have. I've spent over a decade building deep trust and real connections across the UK. From youth leaders in masajids to university ISOCs and grassroots da'wah groups. I have mentored hundreds of young Muslims across the country who are desperate to serve their communities, but they've never had the support, funding or structure to do it until now. We are not starting from scratch. We are activating a system that's already waiting to be built and giving it the tools to thrive. And finally, phase 3, a nationwide structure. Within a few years, inshallah, we'll have built a nationwide network of local groups built on love, loyalty and leadership. A structure that rivals the influence of gangs, TikTok and the moral decay of society. A structure built for the akhirah. Why? Because right now our youth are being swallowed by the dominant forces of the day. The loudest voices in their lives are no longer elders, teachers or imams, and not even their parents. It's social media influencers, gang recruiters and online ideologies. Their worldview is being shaped by viral videos, empty validation loops and dopamine addictions. This is the world that we are living in, and we all need to wake up. And the only thing that rivals influence is counter-influence. You have to fight fire with fire. If we don't build structures of belonging for them, they will find it in the wrong places. If we don't give them tribes of purpose, they'll fall into tribes of destruction. This is just how humans are built. We always gravitate towards something bigger than us. We always want to be part of something bigger. And if we don't present Islam as relevant, rooted and real, they'll be pulled into ideologies that feel more alive than our community spaces. We have a lot of work to do. This is why Criterion Group isn't just a da'wah movement. It is a system, a structure, a blueprint for long-term revival. Imagine every city and town with a team of trained youth leaders who know how to connect with hearts, build relationships, and can influence others. How would you feel knowing your 13, 14-year-old son, nephew, brother, cousin is growing up in that type of an environment? We will create a base for gatherings, mentorship and purpose-driven brotherhood. A culture where that 14-year-old stepping into manhood doesn't feel alone, but he is then welcomed by older brothers who've walked the path and will walk it with him. This is a proven method that never fails. I have tried and tested it in my own community over the span of 15 years. I have failed and failed and failed and seen what works and what doesn't work. And we have built a strategy that is so robust that whenever we put it into practice, it is an absolute powerhouse of influence. This is what we will do. We will create an environment so powerful that nothing else outside is attractive anymore to the young people of the West. We are replacing social isolation with spiritual brotherhood. We are replacing street mentors with sincere role models. We are replacing confusion with clarity, and we will do this en masse because the times ahead are getting worse and worse by the day. This is what we mean when we say a structure that rivals gangs, rivals TikToks, rivals the moral decay of society, because it is rooted in something greater, the akhirah. But to fight these evils, the only way it will ever work effectively is by having structure, the right people and the right tools. And this is where we need you. Now, if your heart is moved by what you've just heard, then now is your time to act. Whether you donate £10 or £10,000, this is a sadaqah jariyah that can reach and go far beyond future generations. Your support will help us build spaces of belonging, purpose, and systematic influence across the nation and eventually across the globe. You won't just be donating to a cause, you will be helping shape the future of Islam in the Western world. There is no other way to put it. Honestly, there isn't. This is what you will be doing, brothers and sisters. You will be donating towards the future of Islam in the West. This is it. There is no other way to put it. Look, we will do the work, but your help is what makes it possible. And as a thank you, anyone who donates £1,000 or more will receive a personal 30-minute Zoom call with me. I'll walk you through the full plan and answer any questions. You'll be honoured as a founding pillar and have your name permanently displayed on our founder's wall in our first premises. You'll receive private updates from the team and be the first to know about milestones, decisions and developments and how the project is going. And for those who contribute £5,000 or more, we want to go even further. You'll be invited to a private dinner and vision feedback session where possible. And at this session, we will share our plans, hear your thoughts, and explore how you can help shape the direction of this movement. You'll become part of our inner circle, not just supporting from the outside, but influencing from within, along with your very own plaque with your name engraved on it in our headquarters as someone recognized for your support right at the start of this project. We will make this happen, inshallah. I have dedicated my life to this work. What you see on social media of my reach is a fraction of the blood, sweat and tears I have put into grassroots da'wah and the skill sets that I have learned over the last 15 years. And wallahi, I believe we can still save this generation, but I can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. We need people like you, people who believe in the vision. And if we want to change the future of our communities, we have to invest in the future now. I believe this is the most important project I have ever been a part of in my life, and I am inviting you to be part of it too. If you've been waiting for the right time to make a difference, this is it. You've heard the vision. You've seen the plan. Now all that's left is action. If you want your wealth to speak for you after you have gone, let it speak here, in this place, for this mission, in this time. Because what we build now could save lives, families, and the future of generations to come.